What's up? What's up, my financially intentional people? So happy to be back with you and back in a major way with my girl, Michelle Jackson, formerly of Michelle is Money Hungry. Michelle is uh, the Colorado blogger and a whole bunch of amazing things that Michelle does. But honored to say that I've known Michelle for quite a few years,
Yeah.
and she always blows me away with the things that she's working on. But lately, she has been talking about just ways to generate income that a lot of people often overlook because they might be thinking a little too big. And want to talk about how just even smaller ideas or concepts that might not even bring in that much money a month can still help you reach your financial goals and can lead to something more. But just giving people that little push to start these I've heard from a lot of my audience recently that income is an issue, and trying to find more ways to drive income is something that they're looking for. So I just wanted to give people some ideas of where to start to decrease the intimidation. So I know you're the perfect person to do that, Michelle.
I'm going to
So
try.
welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I love thinking about side hustles and I have done so many. I have done so many. And you were referencing a post that I had written really specifically for people who are in the business of creating content.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's a conversation around building up income streams in addition to like your 9 to 5 that we're just not having enough. And I guess what I'll do is I'll just get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Jackson. I am a multi-passionate content creator, but how Nasima and I know each other is through a project that I've worked on for many, many years called Michelle is Money Hungry. No, I'm not greedy for money. Okay. I want to make that clear. My mom hates the name of this project, by the way. She hates it because she's an older Black woman, but it's a tongue-in-cheek name. And part of why I called that project that was I wanted to be okay wanting to bring money into my life, which felt weird to be like, I deserve to have money coming in. And so that was the intention around the name of that, is to be like, every time I saw that, it's okay for me to want money so that I can pay for my bills and pay the student loans and save and invest and pay off debt. There's all these things that I have to do, especially as a US based person. And so one of the core conversations that I had and continue to have on that project when I'm releasing content is around how policy impacts American money. This year in particular, I'm only talking about how policy impacts American women's money. And part of why I cared so much about it was I have a degree in public administration. I have a poli-sci degree as well. So a master's in public administration, a bachelor's in poli-sci. So I had noticed that a law would be passed and there would be an impact, right? Like on money, but in different ways. So an example would be people always fuss at Americans for not traveling abroad. Why don't you travel abroad? Why don't you have a passport? First of all, the country's really large. And so there is the practical nature of we have a large country. But the other thing is, it takes time to do that. For me in Denver, to go to New York, that's a 5-hour flight.
Mm-hmm.
For Nasima, it's 6.5. Like it is a commitment. And so the policy that we don't have is federal leave. We don't have a minimum federal leave policy in the United States. So when I lived in France, they're long vacations. And those typically are going to be about 6 weeks. First of all, they hate all of us. And I'm convinced there's going to be a lot of conversations about things not being open. That's not this conversation. Anywho, because I used to live there. Anywho, but this is the time of year where they have paid, like basically paid 6 weeks off. And then they come back, right? But that's a financial policy, right? Here we have a suggested 10 days, but Nasima has little people. Kids get sick. They ate up several of those 10 days if she just has 10 days.
If I have one sick day, I'm good. Like I'm golden.
If you have parents and something comes up, my mom had to get surgery, as one does when you're getting older. She needed cataract surgery. This is a common thing. This is most of us will have it if we live long enough, right? But you have to drive people to do that. So that's like a policy that impacts money because you can't work that day because you're there all day while they're getting that done. I am really thinking about how do the laws impact what we do. Right now, as we record this, there's a lot of conversation around, and I'm not getting political, I'm just stating a thing before I say this. There is what's called Project 2025. And there's many pieces that for me personally, I have problems with. But one I wish that they would talk a lot about, which is within that Project 2025 mandate that for the Republicans they're focused on, they don't want to pay overtime. So they want to remove overtime. So we could have this conversation and I'm like, I want you to do overtime if you have that opportunity within your organization to do that. And these guys are like, no, we want to remove overtime. And instead of having you be at like 40 hours in a week, somehow they've done some weird finagling. So like how the hours are that you work within a month is what it is so that you would never be paid for overtime. So I talk about policy a lot because it impacts everything, I'm pretty sure. The reason why I'm leading this conversation with all of this is we have to understand some of the rules that will impact some of the things we're trying to do because we are dealing with a lot of interesting people right now who will try to mess you up.
They are trying to affect your
Yes,
livelihood.
yes, yes,
Yes, yes.
yes. And we don't want that for you. And
Right.
so you need to be aware.
And I think that's super interesting. Number one, I also have a degree in policy. I have my bachelor's is
That's
in
why I like you.
my bachelor's is in public policy and
Yeah.
management. But I'm so glad that you led with this because a lot of people do not understand how policy affects them day to day. And I think that this is a perfect example. And also knowing your rights and understanding how to look at these policies and how they apply in your life and how they affect your livelihood is like super duper important. And I think a lot of people bypass that and a lot of people get in trouble. I know like in the creator space, as a content creator, that whole non-compete is a huge thing. For example, if I create content for a bank, Fidelity, right? I can't create content for another 3 months to a year for a Vanguard or for a SoFi or something like that. This is just perfect examples of like how those things play out. It'll be interesting to see what those agreements are going to look like after September, because yes, it definitely does affect your livelihood, especially if it's something that you're living off of. So yeah.
Imagine you're working a little fun little thing and then the next thing they're like, we're going to fire you because we heard you're working for another company. And you're like, what's that have to do with you? I didn't tell you anything about this.
Or just not pay you.
Yeah. Always be aware that one, keep your business to yourself. This includes your colleagues at these side hustles. So we'll talk about side hustles, but I wanted to bring this up because there's just a lot of litigation around this. And also, as you would expect, there have been lawsuits that have been filed against this FTC ruling. And there will be some like legal wrangling before it'll go in effect, but you never know what's going to happen. So just FYI, just keep your business to yourself.
So let's talk about these more approachable kind of like side hustles and how people can like think about earning extra income in a different way.
Yeah. So I feel like the best side hustles are the ones that require the least amount of mental energy. And there's a lot of different ones that you could do, but they should require that, like I have requirements. They should be fun. A lot of times I like to do things that would pay for something I would go to. Like I get paid to go to a thing that I would go to anyway. Let's put it that way. I like to do things online that could scale so I can save my time, because how much time do we have? I don't want to do a side hustle that stresses me the heck out. I don't want to do a side hustle where people are yelling at me. I don't want to do it, because I'm a Black woman in America. I need a lot of boundaries. And so when you're like thinking about your side hustles, I want you to be so crystal clear about what will not work for you in terms of behavior, in terms of distance from your home. This should be the same for your job if you're in jobs, looking for a new job. In terms of standing, if you're doing something in person, like how long are you wanting to stand? Can you sit? There's just these little things. And so once you have that dialed in, it just makes it easier to figure out the type of side hustle for you. So like an example of what I would not do Instacart. I don't want to be in a car like that. I hate driving. I hate it. I don't want
Do you
wearing.
even own a car, Michelle?
No, I don't. But I'm a board
Okay.
member. I'm a
Yes.
board member of a car share program. So I have a whole fleet of electric and hybrid vehicles that I have access to. So no,
Very nice.
I don't own a car, but I got cars I can use. And I'm on the board. But my
Yes.
point is, even if I did own a car, I don't want to be driving around in traffic. Being in Denver's traffic is horrendous. I don't want to do that. I don't want to pick your food out, even though I'm good at it because I'm a good cook. I don't want to be responsible for any of this. I don't want to be coming up to your house. I don't know who you are. I don't want you at my house. So nothing about Instacart is appealing. I have known people who really enjoy it. They enjoy driving. They have figured out perhaps a hack where they buy gas on their mileage card. And so they're able to get more points on their mileage card so they can fly. So be really strategic around that. So me, I'm never going to want to do anything like Instacart. Anything where I'm in a car trying to deliver stuff, we're good. I love events. I've mentioned it. I love events. If you have a convention center, a theater, basketball place, baseball, football, hockey, soccer, this is my city, then they are always constantly staffing those venues in order to run those experiences. In the city of Denver, I have done a lot of those side hustles. There's one I still do because I get to do free things all the time, including probably going to see Kevin Hart. I say yes to this because sometimes, you know how sometimes you're the friend who does things, you're like, I want to do stuff, and your friends are like, so sometimes these events fall under that. And I'm like, I'm paid, I'm there, I'm happy. And look at those facilities to see what staffing company is staffing regularly those venues and get hired on. However, when you work like your first shift, if it's bad, if the venue is bad, it's bad. So in Denver, Coors Field, like the sporting venues are bad for staff, right? So one time it was before COVID, and it was when I was really trying to monetize my brand. So I was like needing free time and I was doing a lot of freelancing and I was doing all this stuff. So I was like, let's add some extra side hustles so that I can bring a little more cash in. It pays every week, which is huge. And so I go to Coors Field, which is our baseball stadium, super beautiful, the most stressful 2 days of my life. Okay. And I was like, not ever again.
Never again.
Don't, no, not ever, not never, no. And it's funny because I know people who still side hustle at the venue, but they're in specific areas. So there's these high-end areas, and so they're treated like princes and princesses there. That wasn't where I was at because you have to be like build some seniority.
Work up to that.
Yeah, and I was like, we don't need to do that. Like this was supposed to be fun. I don't like baseball like that. We're good. So really think about, observe the experience, and if it's bad, don't second guess it. Just move on. It's okay. You don't need to be there because if you're in a city that's 30,000 or more, there's more than enough venues that you can consider working at. I used to do a side hustle at my dance studio. That was one of the best. That was the best. Why? Because I was dancing all the time. I need to do it again so I could lose this weight. But I loved it because I got to teach dance classes and get paid. And then I was comped all the other classes I took. And this was at the time when I was auditioning for music videos and Denver Broncos cheerleader stuff. So I needed all that time. And so it was like a win-win-win. And your side hustle should always be a win-win-win. I should tell you the story about the music video I'm in, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to
Oh,
leave that tantalizing little tidbit. Ha!
now
Uh,
we want to know. We need to know about this music video. Oh my
oh,
God.
it's a mess. It's a beautiful video, but everything else is a mess. I'm so sorry. Special events. I'm still on events. Sometimes they're one-time events. Um, the other week we had Tacolandia, like those food
Mm.
events, but they need to staff those events. So you could see if on Craigslist, actually, they'll share it. There's a lot of apps nowadays where you can go and look at the app and they'll post an upcoming job. But Craigslist in my town has been really good, but now they're
I'm
starting
like,
to,
Craigslist is still a thing,
hey,
like
it
old
works.
school
I
Craigslist.
know, right? If it works, it works. And
Yeah.
so you could see that their staffing day of the event. It could be that you're helping them set up the event. It could be breaking it down. There are a lot of brands that are looking for staff teams to staff the booths that they'll have. So at Tacolandia, they had Topo Chico. I got socks. It was great.
Mm.
They need people to scan tickets as they're coming in. And if you can just hold a scanner and that's it. It's not, there's no brain energy expended. And then after you do that side hustle, you eat your weight in tacos and booze, actually. Like you get cocktails and tacos, or if you're not about that life, you get Topo Chico, you get fruit drinks, like it, whatever you needed to do. My whole thing with side hustles, are they fun? Does it make sense for you? They should not be costing you money to do ever. Do they compensate you at a high enough rate? Most of these side hustles in my town, typically you're going to see them about 20 and up, right? Because it's an expensive city. So 20 and up. If it's lower than that, I'm like, why is this so what's going on? It's going to be very difficult for people to staff those events because it's going to be too low. And it's okay to be that's too low because if you're in a big enough city, they always have something going on. In January here, we have a massive, I can't believe I'm about to say this out loud. We have a massive rodeo. Okay. Hey, Black Rodeo is awesome, but there's a massive rodeo called the National Western Stock Show. And there's cowboys and cowgirls, literally, from all over the world coming for this event. It's 3 weeks in Denver. And the amount of staffing that has to happen for this event is massive. And so you'll start seeing, I'd say in end of October, November-ish, they'll start being like, oh, hey, we're thinking about staffing for this thing. And then you can get on the roster and you just work like a dog for 3 weeks because it's a 3-week event. It's from 8 to 10 every day, and they have all these needs. So really think about that. I'm about to go on this big trip, and I realized I'm going to be in Chicago during Lollapalooza.
Ooh.
And I know, right? I was like, why can't I find a hotel? Oh, God. So I had to get that done today. And I'm going to be there during Lollapalooza, which is this massive music festival that they've had for many, many years. But they have vendors, they have people selling things, they have all the things. And I know if I were to go on their Craigslist, you know what? No, I don't have enough time. I could go on their Craigslist and look and see who needs help and get hired on. And actually, this is a great segue. I know people who have gone to other cities to side hustle. Nevada being one that shouldn't surprise you. Las Vegas has so many events all the time. They're always needing staffing because some of their staffing is really bad, like the quality is bad. So people who are working for companies, staffing companies across the US, like event staffing companies, where they know the team leads or the owners of those businesses, if they have a footprint in Las Vegas or New Orleans or where have you, they could be like, hey, do you need help staffing XYZ convention? I'll fly in and work it. I know lots of people do that. And these are people who have their own businesses. These are people who maybe are retirees. They get bored and so they want to work every once in a while. They have money. They just like the retirees like to work a lot. So they just do that. I know. Okay. I know people who will travel to other places. They're like, I want to travel and visit this place, but I can't afford all the things. So I will do a side hustle during the day because my cousin is working. I'll earn a little money. And then when they're done working, we'll explore the town. So
Yeah.
like really reframing like what a side hustle could look like, I think helps people to figure out, oh, there's a lot of opportunities, especially
Exactly.
in cities where they're having problems with staffing.
Yeah.
When I have done side hustles in Denver, we meet teams that work all around the US. They're event teams and they manage conventions and things like that. And they will tell us, you are so easy to work with. We had problems in these cities. There are cities where it's just, I don't know what's going on, where organizations and events have a problem. And if you get in good with the team, they're like, hey, we would love to have you fly around and work with us. During the height of COVID, this one's interesting. This business I'm thinking of is Black owned. And it was a mother and daughter, and they were doing COVID, like something around COVID vaccinations and making sure that people were compliant and
Mm-hmm.
having people be vaccinated. So they were
Mm-hmm.
facilitating that process at the event. Because
Mm-hmm.
remember, during COVID, you could not, it was like, no, you got, it's either this or you can't be here.
Yeah. Are you kidding?
So
Yeah.
they had this whole business going from event to event doing that. And their team members were work at home moms, people like me who like do lots of random stuff and get bored and want to go somewhere else. They were wonderful people, some retirees. And so they would travel with this company to different locations to facilitate this thing. But it wasn't like they were working all day long. Once they got their work done, they were good to go and they could explore the city that they were in.
Yeah, I like that. I think the whole purpose of the conversation is really letting people know what's possible
Yeah.
because I think oftentimes, especially at nowadays, like social media will have you believe there's like one way to do something or this is the best way. And so it limits what your opportunities that you think that you have
Mm-hmm.
available to you and just reframing it as something that can be fun, something that you can incorporate in a vacation, something that you can incorporate in just like the day-to-day things that you love. I love the event example because that's exactly what my dad does. My dad
Oh,
loves football. He loves events. And so instead of paying
exactly.
like for season passes to see the Raiders when the Raiders were in Oakland, we're not going to talk
Oh,
about that anymore. But he was like, why don't I just work there? I see
yeah.
all the games. And that was his second source of income. I think people just need to think about ways to generate money outside of the normal, like you have to create this whole job, you have to
Mm-hmm.
turn into this overnight entrepreneur. No,
Mm-hmm.
I love just conversations about ways to bring in extra money because there's infinite possibilities as to
Yes.
where oftentimes we hear stuff about restrict your budget, cut down on
Mm-hmm.
your budget, all of those things. That's important, but there's a finite amount of ways you can cut down on your budget versus the infinite amount of ways that you can grow your income. And it does not have to look like what you think it has to look like. It could be fun. It can incorporate the things that you already love. And so just having people just reframe their thinking around it, I feel like opens up a lot of opportunity and possibility. So,
I
yeah,
want
this
to have
conversation was
fun
great.
if I'm doing
Yeah.
a side hustle.
Yeah.
If I know that I want to, like, okay, so we have all these amazing concerts coming into town. Depending on the concert, maybe I would work one. Heck yeah. Like maybe I don't have a friend coming with me, so might as well. Or
Yeah.
like I'm flexible, like whatever. And I do want to touch on something that's really important that might be tripping up people from starting a side hustle, which is how they think the optics of it looks to other people.
Mm.
So maybe you have this amazing full-time career and you're working this incredible job and you're just feeling like for whatever reason there's more month than money, and you're like, you know what, I'm trying to get ahead, I'm trying to take care of a couple things, but it's just not working and I need to bring in more income. I've cut as much as I can, and then for some reason you're like, but what will other people think? And I feel like this is a real important thing to bring
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
because if you have any feelings around this, it can feel weird to do a side hustle and have people have a perception of you that is different than what the reality is of your life. I will say though, when I've done side hustles, those are some of my most impactful networking moments.
Right
I
there.
have a
Yes.
radio show now. I have a local radio show. This is crazy. I have a
Okay.
local radio show. When I tell you the story, you'll be like, what? And someone was following me on Twitter last year. And they are here in Colorado. They were with a radio show, which I didn't realize. But then one day they're like, Michelle, we know about your personal finance content. We think you would be great for this radio show, this public radio show here in Denver. And I was like, this sounds awesome. But then I decided the timing wasn't right. Then a year later, because I still do like to side hustle, I still dabble. I was at a side hustle at a convention because it was fun. I had the time, like whatever. And I was talking to this gentleman, and we started geeking, older gentleman, and we started geeking out about podcasts because I think I was, for some reason, I was directing him to a podcast, or I don't know what it was. And I was like, oh, like I have podcasts too. And we were just geeking out about it. And he's from Denver, even though it's a convention for people all over the country. And he's, oh, what's your show about? So I tell him, and he goes, oh my gosh, I am a producer at this radio station. And I think it was the same one, guys.
That is so funny.
I think that you should have a show. And I was like, what? Because it was the same show. They never talked to each other. It was just because I randomly talked to him at a convention. And I've had a lot of that happen. So I think reframing like how impactful a side hustle could be in terms of finding out about job leads, about people to collaborate with on a piece of content if you're doing something like that. Just you would be surprised at how many opportunities a well-placed side hustle can give you. Some of the best people I know are my coffee shop baristas. I adore them. They know all the things, right? The other day I was at the coffee shop. I'm a regular at one in my neighborhood. And one of the girls was wearing these cute, stretchy black pants. And I was like, I love those pants. And she's, oh, I got them at Costco. And I was like, oh, because I don't have a Costco membership, right? And she goes, Michelle, don't worry about it. The next time I'm there, I'll get them for you. And I was like, oh, no, no, no. And she's, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I completely forgot about it. I gave her my size, everything, no big deal. And then I forgot about it. The next time I come in, she's, oh, here are your pants. Obviously, I paid her for it, but she's, here are your pants. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's like that human connection and how you meet people sometimes in a side hustle is so nice because it's nothing but helping people in the
Mm-hmm.
easiest of ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. I want to talk about brand ambassador work, which is huge. It's one of my favorites. I love it so much. A lot of companies will test out different markets for their product. If a market is ideal for the product that they're producing. I will give two examples of companies that I did this for. One is a juice company that you will never have in California, actually, because it's a natural juice company out of Florida. And Colorado is the furthest east they can ship it.
To keep
it just
now.
Can't. And also California has citrus, so there's a conflict. So they'll never be in California. But it's amazing, amazing, amazing products, delicious. And so what we would do is literally hand out samples like this big of juice to people, just hand it out. But it was fun because we would often have the opportunity to stay in the mountains, and because we would be at food festivals, like the Vail Food Classic.
Oh,
nice stuff. So it would be me and the team lead, usually two of us, and we'd have all these events that we could choose from. And I would always choose the mountain ones because I'm like, you're going to pay for me to have my own room in a suite in the mountains. And all I have to do is hand out juice and talk to strangers. And then when we're done, eat and have a cocktail. That's all you want. Okay. And so it was the best. It was the best side hustle. Okay. Because we'd go to the mountains, we'd have the weekend, we hand it out. And if we finished early, got paid for the whole time.
Nice.
Those are the best side hustles. So maybe you have 6 hours worth of work and they're like, we have you allocated for 6 hours worth of work. Well, but if you get it done and whenever you get it done, we'll pay you for the whole shift. Boom. You want to stay on teams like that, by the way. You want to, don't let those people go. And I'm still friends with that team lead. She's amazing. Yeah.
But I think what you alluded to, especially earlier, was that opportunity begets opportunity.
Yes.
And again, it is super important that a lot of times people think like the perception of what other people will think of them
Yeah.
get in the way of them starting. But just start. Even if you don't like something, you'll learn something from it,
Mm-hmm.
and you might make those connections that lead into the next thing. And like with anything, I think the most important thing that people can do is just put yourself out there and try the things, and don't let that limiting self-talk prevent you from doing something that can turn into something amazing. And I love to use myself as an example, because where would I be if I had never just decided to share my debt payoff journey
Yeah.
with the world? And what I didn't start it to do all the amazing things that I have done, or meet the amazing people and experience the amazing things and be able to be in this amazing financial place. I just started it because I knew it was something that needed to be talked about, and I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted my girlfriends to know. But it was taking that first step that opened up a whole world of possibility for me that I did not know even existed. The opportunities that I get day to day in my
Yeah.
mailbox, I couldn't even dream about doing those things. And it's just because I took the first step to put myself out there.
Mm.
And so that's my challenge to you guys in the audience, the people listening. Try something a little bit outside of your comfort zone. Try something new. Try something that you're not the best at. You don't have to be perfect at it. Just do it and then
Mm-hmm.
see what comes out of it. And don't just give up if it's not perfect the first time. Try
This.
something else, and try something that, like I said, it's something that you would otherwise do for free, but you get paid for because it's something that you enjoy. And I promise you, if it's not from the connections that you meet, or like the company that you work for that may be like, hey, we also do these kind of things, are you interested? I like after opportunity comes from just putting yourself out there. So that is a challenge.
I have two last things I think
Yeah.
to share. They touch on what you just said in two very different ways. So I want to make sure I don't forget them, because sometimes that happens because they're so
Mm-hmm.
different. To your point, putting yourself out there, if there is a skill set that you would eventually like to be paid for in the future, right? Do not wait for your boss to try to assign you to develop that skill set, especially if it's not within the purview of the job that you're working. A good example of this is the other day I was on social media. Why I do this to myself, I do not know. However, you know how they always are joking about Beyonce and the visuals to her songs and how she never releases them?
Mm-hmm.
So, one of her fans created one of the most incredible videos I have ever seen in my life to Yaya, the song Yaya. It's insane. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, she is clearly a film major and
Mm-hmm.
wanting to get hired for film one day. Um, I don't see how she couldn't be. That's how, like, I can't, I need to send you a link. It is incredible.
Yeah, I need to see
The
that.
amount of time and effort and energy she put into developing this whole video with friends and costumes. It was insane. There's this guy from Oakland, Joshua. Is it Joshua? Josh O'Neill or Joshua O'Neill? Very handsome, by the way.
Oh yeah, I love him. I
He's
love him.
adorable, right? But
Yes.
he's not doing this anymore. But he used to film all these short videos,
Yes.
and they're phenomenal. And now he
Incredible.
has a representation as an actor. And why? Because he kept partly he was doing this I think before COVID hit, but then COVID hit and he had nothing else to do. So
Mm-hmm.
he grew his platform. He did all this phenomenal work, and now just to get people to believe that he could be an actor. And Nassim and I both have seen him. He's amazing.
Yeah.
And so this was a way for him to get in front of people, develop these skills, and get people to know of him as an actor. And then a third thing to share is I write romances for fun. It's like my
Yes.
favorite. I love it so much. And I will say that I stopped regularly writing them during COVID because there was just too much going on. It was very stressful. And I needed to be relaxed in order to write them. But my romances have made me money since the first month I published them. I self-publish. I have so much fun with them. I'm starting again. I just set up some pre-orders the other day, and I'm so excited about it because that was the money, my romance money in particular, was the money that I lived off of during COVID.
Wow.
Because I had built up so much income, it was coming in.
The thing is that's crazy is you write it under a pen name. It's not under your brand. It's
Nope.
this whole other thing. Actually, Michelle, you need to do a workshop on that because I think it's genius. I was actually just telling my friend the other day about that story. And I was just like, that is such a fun income stream because I like fantasies. I like all these different kind of things. And with AI, it's so much easier.
Oh,
I know you don't like it, but
No,
what I'm
I'm going to
saying
tell you
is,
why. I'm going to tell you why. I read a book that I could tell was AI and was awful. It was the worst experience of my life.
you know what? I feel like though, if you're not like relying heavily on AI to write the
This
whole
person wrote
thing,
the book with AI. I
yeah,
was like, girl, I felt so trolled, and the review, because I'm a fan of romance, so I clocked it
right
so
away,
fast.
right
Other
away.
people did too, so you should see all the reviews. But there are parts to the process, yes, that you can optimize with AI. I do not, because I don't want ever for someone to put it through one of those readers and have them be like, But definitely there are parts. Actually, this is how I would say it. You could optimize AI through using like Descript or Cast Magic,
Yeah.
where it's trained with only your content versus a Chat GPT, which is the one I don't care for. I like
Right.
AI. I'm just not a fan of Chat GPT because of IP. So because we're talking about a creative work, this is why I was like, I don't want them scraping my novel and then selling it. And this is why I was saying that. But
Yeah.
if you want to write romance, of course you have to learn how it works, there's ins and outs, but it's my favorite thing. I love it. I've set it up, my new books, in such a way that I publish on Amazon. They will pay you 60 days after the earn date of the income. So say, for example, in July, I earn 1,000. At the end of September, I would get that 1,000.
Nice.
So I've done it so that money comes in during the winter, which is when income dips a little bit in my online business.
You're so strategic with it. You're so strategic with it.
Yes, I am.
Yes. But anyway, the reason why I love you, Michelle, is that you are always giving the tea. You have an email subscription that is $5 a month, very affordable, where you share all of these ideas on there. So if you are looking for side hustles, if you're looking for more ways to generate revenue, and I know it's probably content creator focused, but every time I read it, I'm like, anybody can like benefit from this. So let people know how to stay connected with you, how to get on your email list, because obviously you have the gems and you're a great storyteller in everything. So we could talk forever.
Yes. But I'm like, but I got to pack because I'm leaving tonight. So thank you guys so much for allowing me to share my ideas, and I hope they were helpful. My resource is called Creators Getting Paid. If you put in Creators Getting Paid, you're going to find it a couple different places. The resource is on Substack. So if you don't have a Substack subscription or profile, that's fine. You can just go to substack.com, and I think there's like a search, and then you put in Creators Getting Paid. There's a free or paid option. If you opt for the paid, I'll have interviews of creators behind the scenes where they share different ways that they've made money. But the free part is just as good as the paid, I think. And then there's a website, that's Creators Getting Paid. So there's content that complements it. And then there's a podcast as well. So it's all Creators Getting Paid. If you're like, Michelle, we're good, but we want personal finance, I get it. So I will be publishing a season of content because of the election this fall. It's going to be all about women and how policy impacts our money here in the U.S. Clearly, there's a lot of content for that. Oh my God. So I will be doing that.
I'm going to get deeper.
I don't want to say when I'm going to release it, but I'm thinking I'll start releasing episodes after Labor Day because I feel like we at least need a break.
Yes.
And that's Michelle is Money Hungry. And you can find that anywhere you listen to a podcast.
And I'll put those links in the show notes. Make sure you guys check it out. Again, thank you so much, Michelle. I know you got to go and pack. I have a meeting
Yes.
too. But this has been so real. It's always great to catch up with you. And I know people will have caught the gems. And
Thank you.
so my challenge is for you to take action and let me know in the comments if you've taken action on anything, because I want to hear. I want you to start doing the things and just putting yourself out there, because opportunity begets opportunity.
Woo.
All right, thanks.